Every day, we make choices that affect our life. People take drugs for a lot of different reasons, like to deal with life's problem, challenges, to escape from reality, to relieve pain, to relieve stress, or to try to fit in, just to name a few.
It may seem common for young people to experiment with different substances, like vaping, weed, tobacco, Molly, and alcohol. Some may even consider hard drugs such as cocaine, meth, or opioids like heroin. Regardless of the substance, if it's not prescribed by a doctor and taken as prescribed, experimenting with substances can have negative effects. Meet Jeremiah. Jeremiah hangs out with his friends on the weekends. They drink alcohol and occasionally smoke marijuana to relax and get away from the stresses of life and school. One time at a party, Jeremiah smoked something a girl handed to him, not knowing what it was. Later, he found out that it was K2, a synthetic type of weed. His friends told him that he was hilarious and started acting crazy, and that they couldn't wait to party with him again. Jeremiah was concerned because he has no memory of what happened. He wants to be with his friends and have a good time, but he hated not remembering and doesn't want to take another substance like that again. He also feels new pressure to be the life of the party and act a certain way. What happened to Jeremiah is all too common. You start out taking one substance and end up taking something else. A danger in using any substance that isn't prescribed to you is not knowing exactly what it is you're taking and how it will impact you. Unfortunately, young people are being exposed to substances that can have dangerous physical and mental health consequences. As a good rule of thumb, if a drug isn't prescribed to you, you shouldn't take it. Pretty quickly, what feels like casual or experimental substance use can turn into a substance use problem, which has long-lasting and negative consequences. Before you decide to use a substance, know the risks and potential consequences, or reach out to a counselor to talk about it.
What is drug abuse? Drug abuse is intentionally using drugs in a way that is unhealthy or illegal. Whether drugs are legal or illegal, each have the potential to cause harm. Common drugs that are abused by teenagers are alcohol, tobacco, and cannabis. There are a number of ways that drug abuse can affect the body, such as physically. Drug abuse can impair brain development, for example, memory loss and ability to concentrate. It also increases the risk of many diseases in the lungs, liver, and heart. Constant drug use can affect your emotional well-being. It increases the risk of many mental disorders such as anxiety and depression. It also has the ability to change personality through mood swings and aggressive behaviours, as well as causing dependency issues such as addiction. Drug abuse not only affects the body, but can affect your social health. It has the potential to damage relationships with your friends and family through altered behaviours. It can also negatively affect your attitudes towards school, sport, work, or hobbies. So why do young people use drugs? Young people like you are faced with many influences towards drugs, both legal and illegal. As you get older, the risk of drug use increases due to many factors. There are a number of reasons young people may use or experiment with drugs, such as peer pressure, curiosity and wanting to take risks, academic struggles or stress, boredom, or to escape from psychological pains such as changes in family situations or breakups. Research has shown that social influences such as peer pressure are one of the biggest causes of drug abuse among adolescents. Within the high school environment, there can be many social pressures to fit in with peers and groups. In this following scenario, we will demonstrate how if you fail to make smart decisions in relation to taking drugs, it can affect your life. Here we see Tommy and James enjoying themselves at a party. One of the perceived cool kids from school comes up and says,
"Aren't you boys drinking? Everyone else is. Here, drink this."
Tommy responds to the offer by saying, "No thanks," but the cool kid replies,
"Come on guys, do it. Don't you want to be cool?"
Tommy thinks and then says,
"Yeah, why not? Can't hurt."
It is now a bit later on in the party and Tommy is drunk. James tells Tommy he needs to stop, but Tommy responds and says,
"No, go away. I'm drinking with my new cool friends."
It has now been a few weeks since the party, and Tommy and James have taken different paths. James is still playing sport, his school performance continues to be positive, he's hanging out with his friends, and has a positive outlook on life. Meanwhile, Tommy is skipping class and has been involved in drinking regularly and beginning to experiment with other substances. His attitude has changed towards school, sport, friends, and he doesn't seem his usual self.
Some people can be aware of the negative effects of drugs in their health and in their life and still struggle to stop using them. It is because repeated drug use can lead to changes in the brain that make it hard to stop using them, even when people wanted to. When this happens, the person is experiencing a medical problem known as substance use disorder. Addiction is a severe form of substance use disorder. All addictive drugs cause the brain to release the chemical dopamine. Dopamine is usually released after pleasurable and satisfying activities. Dopamine causes the brain to remember rewards like foods and drugs, the desire to seek them out again. Repeatedly using a drug floods the brain with more dopamine, which can change the way the brain responds to that drug. Drug addiction is a complex condition that often begins with the voluntary use of substances. However, over time, it can transform into a compulsive behavior, disrupting lives, straining relationships. It is important to recognize that addiction is not a moral failing, but a chronic disease that requires treatment and support.